Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video we're going to be taking a quick look at Hellblade Senuas Sacrifice. Now I know this game is quite old because it came out originally in 2017. So why are we checking this game out right now? Well, it's because it recently got a Series X and S update. Now we're going to take a look at how this has changed the game in terms of the lighting, in terms of the textures, in terms of the load times, in terms of the overall graphics, and how this now looks on the Series S. A few quick things before we get started. I am capturing the game footage from the Series S directly, so it's getting recorded at 1080p with 60 frames per second. My television is a 4K TV, so it's the Samsung AU9070. So of course, I'm gonna output it at 4K 60 FPS. Now there are different modes in this game, so we're gonna check out a few of those game modes as well. In terms of performance, frame rates, etc., and see how it actually impacts your overall gameplay. So let's tune into this game and find out all about Hellblade's Senuas Sacrifice. Oh, by the way, just a few fun facts before we get started. Now this game, as I told you, originally came out in 2017. I have played it when it came out in 2017 on my original Xbox, and even back then the graphics were really good. And I believe it ran at somewhere around 900p with a dynamic resolution. That's what it was playing at, and that was at 30 frames per second. So that was the original game. But now on this Xbox Series S, you can play it at 1080p at 60 frames per second, and plus there's also a 1440p mode on this particular game. So I'm quite excited to check that out as well. Now apart from that, this game has been developed by Ninja Theory. It's the same studio which is behind the Devil May Cry, the original Devil May Cry, that is, and it's also the same studio which is working on the part 2, the sequel of this particular game, Hellblade 2. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this. This game is stored on my internal storage, as you can see on the screen, and it does have that logo Series X and S, meaning that it has actually been updated for the Series X and S. And also I wanted to talk about the game size. It's a respectable 19.1 GB, which is quite all right. I mean, it's not a very big game, so it's not going to take up a lot of that internal storage. Now that I've mentioned all these facts, let's get into the game finally. Okay, so I've started the recording on the Series S, and we're going to start off by taking a look at the options of this particular game. Now in terms of the graphics, you've got a performance mode, you've got a resolution mode, and you've got Enriched Visuals. So I believe when it comes to Enriched Visuals, I'll just put up a link of what this all means while I'm playing that, what exactly it means. But I'm guessing that the performance mode is the one where you play at 1080p at 60 FPS. The resolution mode is the 1440p mode with the dynamic resolution, and I believe the Enriched Visuals is the one which comes with ray tracing. So these are the various options that you have. Now I'm going to start off by jumping into the resolution mode because this is the 1440p mode, and let's take a look at this. I hope we can change this mid-game as well. If not, I will pause the video and then come back to this game again. Now in terms of combat difficulty, let's just go with easy. Photo mode on. Do you have the subtitles on? Well, I can always change them. Let's just directly jump into the game. Let's start a new game and take a look at how this plays. Are you sure you want to start a new game? All previous game progress will be overwritten. Well, yes, because it's taking the progress from my previous Xbox gameplay, because I had a few saved games there. But hey, I'm playing this almost after 4 years. I might as well, start fresh. So let's take a look at the load times. First of all, there is something loading. If I, just put up a clock there, I think it took only 5 seconds, to load that thing up. But I'm going to put up a clock on the screen as well, so that the load times. Now, this game is known for its graphic fidelity. In fact, it was really good when it came out on the original Xbox One. And with the update, I'm really looking forward to what they have done with the graphics when it comes to this particular game. Now, I am playing on the resolution mode, so this is the 1440p mode, but hey, the game is getting captured in 1080p at 60 FPS, so that's the only option that I have when I record this on my Xbox Series S. But I'm gonna give you what I feel I mean, give you cues as to what I feel about the game, what I'm taking a look at while I'm playing this real time. Now in this mode, everything looks sharp. I can make out the texture on that fur which she's got on her, her hair. Absolutely mind-blowing in terms of the details. You can take a look at the skin texture as well, and it's mind-blowing. Now I remember taking a look at the log somehow, because these are things which I do pay attention to, and it looks a little more detailed on this one. I'm not so sure, but I just think that it is. I mean, the log that she's on, and she's taking this kind of a boat ride. Now the titles are quite nice as well, as you can see, and it says mental health advisor. Now the reason why there is a mental health advisor, in case you're wondering, well, the story of this game is where our character, she travels to Helheim, so there are elements of Nordic and Celtic elements as well, which is in the storyline. So she has taken this journey to Helheim to save her lover's soul from getting lost. So I think that is the premise that we are working with, and that's basically the story of this. So I don't want to get into too many spoilers, because for people who have not played this game, they would not appreciate it. But right off the bat, I can tell that the lighting is different. Now some aspects I always check out in a game. Textures, obviously, the that's why I could kind of talk about that texture of that log that she's on. Lighting looks a little different. I'm not sure. If you want me to make a comparison between this and the original Xbox One version, like a side-by-side comparison, based on your comments, based on your requests, I can make that as well. So do let me know in the comment section if you want me to make a video on that. And going back to the graphics, and I was saying right off the bat, this looks ridiculous. I mean, and I mean it in a good way, like super ridiculous. In terms of the visuals, they are mind-blowing. I mean, the texture of the flora and fauna, the trees, etc. It's incredible. I mean, the ripple effects on the water, and this is not the ray tracing version. In fact, let me see if I can actually choose this in between. All right, so let me choose the graphics, and I can't choose this in between the game. Wow. So okay, let's go back. If you want, I can start a new game to go through this, but I think it'll be a little frustrating. I might just show you a section where ray tracing actually plays an important role on screen, and how it actually impacts your overall picture quality. So right now in the resolution mode, which is the 1440p dynamic resolution, everything looks sharp. Now I remember there was a lot of aliasing in the original Xbox One version, and that would be especially around these trees, the leaves, etc. But I see none of that, and this is where a good 4K TV also comes into the picture. And in case you're wondering, why am I always putting a picture of the Samsung AU9070 along with the game? Isn't it supposed to be like a gameplay video only? Well, hey, I've already emphasized on the fact that having a good TV is very important, because a lot of times what happens is even if a game is in 1080p, your television itself will actually upscale that 1080p, and you will have an upscaled 4K version of that game, although the native resolution of the game itself would have been 1080p. Now again, I'm just baffled at how good this game looks. In fact, this is one of those games which I would love playing again, and it doesn't show its age at all. There's another game that I'm keen to show you guys, which in fact has aged like fine wine, and that game is called Rise, Son of Rome. I don't know how many of you have played that game, or if you've heard that game. It was an Xbox exclusive. In fact, it was a launch title on the Xbox One when it came out. So incredible, just incredible game. And if you are a person who's coming from the PlayStation network, and this is your first time playing an Xbox, I would highly recommend that game as well. And the reason why I'm making comparisons is because of the graphic fidelity. These games, in fact, they have aged so well that it shows no sign of being a game from 2017. So that's how good this game looks. Absolutely mind-blowing. after that long, you could say, credits, there's kind of credits, the start credits. We have now finally arrived at the destination, and I can definitely say, that the log for sure has a lot more details going for it. I'm not sure if the amount of vegetation which is on the ground, if it's more or less, I don't remember that. It looks more or less the same. I don't think, they've increased the amount of vegetation on the ground. But the lighting is for sure very different. I think, they've definitely worked on the lighting. I can say by the way the light is bouncing off the character, hitting the ground, etc. It looks incredible. So the graphic fidelity of this game on the Xbox Series S, it's already great. In fact, it wants you to play more and more because it's gorgeous. I mean, just take a look at this game. It's incredible. And by the way, fun fact, taking a look at that log, it does remind me of God of War as well. The first scene where he's walking with the boy and he carries that log. It kind of reminds me of that scene. So yeah, it's fantastic. So now I've got control of the character, and now let's see, if I can actually change the graphics mid-game. I can't change the graphics mid-game. So I guess, once you start on a particular mode, you're stuck with that. You can't change it mid-game. For you to start again, I think you'll have to go back to the you could say the main page, and before you get into the gameplay. So I think if I quit this game and then start again, I actually will be able to get into the graphics performance of the graphic performance setting of the game. Okay, now what do I need to press? I've totally forgotten what this game does. All right. Okay. Do not forget my story, Senua, because your darkness comes from hell and your fate lies there. Alrighty, am I supposed to be doing something?
Do not forget my story, Senua, because your darkness comes from hell and your fate lies.
It doesn't tell me what I need to do. Okay, let's move on. Anyways, I'm not really playing this game. I'm just showing you, what this game actually looks like. So this is not, one of those videos where you will see a comprehensive, you could say, gameplay of the entire game. But man, does this look incredible. I mean, everything is sharp. The draw distance it's incredible. I mean, it does not show its age at all, this game. Wow. This is so good. Now this is where, perhaps ray tracing would have actually come handy. When I specially step into the water, these scenes would have benefited from having that ray tracing mode. But even now, this is ridiculous. As to how good this game looks. Now I can tell straight off that the lighting is different, also because of the fact that the way it bounces off objects, like this particular section where you have this fire. The fire looks great, by the way. It looks fantastic. No pixelation whatsoever. And yeah, this is different. This is for sure different. Yeah, but just look at it. I'm just surprised as to how good this game looks on a Series S. And to have that console, this console, the Series S, give you something like 1080p with ray tracing, that itself is phenomenal. Technology has come such a long way, and I've spoken about this in my previous video as well, when I have spoken about the Xbox Series S, that it is actually a capable device. And wow, this is mind-blowing. This is so good. And this is not even the version which actually has ray tracing. This is the resolution mode, which is the 1440p dynamic resolution mode, and I think this runs at 30 FPS. Now please note, this is where again your TV along with motion smoothness comes into the picture. To my eyes, this looks like 60 FPS simply because of the fact that I have judder set to a high what do you call it, setting. So my judder is set to 10 on my Samsung television, and it removes a lot of that motion blur that comes in, and what it enhances or what it does to your picture is it in fact enhances the overall look, and it also makes it look like it's running at 60 fps. So although this is running at 1440p 30 fps, to my eyes it looks like 60 fps. Now of course, you know, I will not be able to show that on the camera because the game captures directly from the Series S itself, so I'm not capturing my television, you know, through a camera which is kept in front of the TV. But you can take my word for it when I say that this looks like 60 fps. This definitely does. I mean, that's how good this is, and that's what a TV will help you achieve. A good television will help you achieve that feeling of the fact that you're playing a game on 60 fps. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a short break. I'm going to come back to this gameplay. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to take a look at the graphic resolution. Wow, this is incredible. And I want to see, you know, what ray tracing actually does and how it is different to this particular version of the game. So just take a look at, you know, I mean, the reflection of that that far off object on the water, and wow, there are clouds, you know, that I can take a look at as well. Now I could be wrong, you know, I mean, this could actually be the ray tracing version as well. I'm not sure. I'm going to put up the description of what each of the version does on the screen after I've recorded this video, so that, you know, you are well informed and you're not misled, or I don't end up giving you the wrong or inaccurate information. So I will have that information displayed on the screen. Whoa, take a look at that reflection on the water. It is mind-blowing and everything looks sharp. I really appreciate how the developers have actually worked on this game and made a great looking game look even better. And you know, the enhancements have come with the latest gen consoles, the Series X and the S, and they definitely benefit from this graphic upgrade, you could say. So now let me quickly pause this video and I'll come back to it by changing the mode, and I'll tell you, you know, which mode I'm playing on as well. Alright folks, so I am back at the title screen, and from the title screen I have an option of now selecting the graphics presets, Enriched Visuals, Resolution Mode and Performance Mode. So I've got notes as well. So what does the performance mode do on the Series S? By the way, these different graphics preset, they work differently on Series S and X, so just keep that in mind. When it comes to Series S, the performance mode runs the game at 60 fps but at full HD, which is 1080p. The resolution mode, which we played on, which was the 1440p mode, the dynamic resolution mode, that is, that's at 1440p at 30 fps again. Now the enriched mode, which we're going to play on now, which is the enriched visuals that you see on screen. Now this mode will enable the ray tracing, so I was right. However, you know, the game looked so good that I felt like it had ray tracing. In fact, you know, it had me fooled there for a quick minute. But the enriched visuals is the version which actually comes with ray tracing, but the a downside to it is the fact that it actually dials down on the resolution, and instead of 1440p, now it is going to take it down to full HD, which is 1080p. So that is the difference when it comes to your various graphics presets that you have here. So let's continue with the game, and let's take a look at the load times as to, you know, how long it will take to load a game where I'm continuing this. So I'm going to put up a timer. Wow, that was fast. It was less than 10 seconds, I'm sure. And now I'm playing the enriched visual mode, and wow, I can say straight off there is a difference. There's definitely a difference. Now this in fact looks, whoa, it looks better in terms of the amount of details that's in the water. It's taking in all the information that it's getting from the background, from the sky. So you've got, you know, these dynamic clouds on the sky that's getting captured in the water reflection, and that object that is right in front of us, and it's getting the reflection of that as well. Oh, this is so good, incredible. Now does this change the draw distance? Yes, it does. So in the 1440p mode, the trees right in front of me, they looked comparatively sharper, but here I can make out that difference. Now, although my 4K television, the Samsung AU9070, is actually upscaling the 1080p, but even that upscaling that the television itself is doing, it can't compensate for what is lost in terms of the details. So the trees definitely seems, you know, to have lost some details there. The 1440p, the resolution mode, the 1440p mode at 30 fps, it definitely looks sharper, and the draw distance seems to be better off. Even the vegetation on that slope that you see on I don't know if I can run. I'll just zoom in. This particular, you know, grass and, you know, the ground itself, it looks sharper in the 1440p mode. Here it looks a little, you could say, I wouldn't exactly call it pixelated, but it has a haziness to it, you know, so it's kind of blurred. But man, does this look good. It looks absolutely great, guys. So if you have a 1080p monitor, then you will be able to benefit, you know, from this ray tracing mode as well, and it's just insane as to, you know, how good this game looks. I am finally going to try out the last mode as well, which is 1080p, and that is the performance mode. So we're going to dial down on the resolution. In fact, not dial down, we're going to keep it the same because it's going to be 1080p only, but this time around no ray tracing. So let's quickly do that. I'm going to pause the video now and we're going to come back to it. Okay, now I quickly wanted to show you all that I am going to change the graphics mode again. So instead of enriched visuals, we're going to go over to performance mode, which is 1080p at 30 frames per second, not 60 frames per second. Now let's take a look at this final mode, and again the load times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, it's there. I didn't put up a timer, but this time I just counted myself, and less than 10 seconds again. Now this is 1080p, and this is the 60 fps mode. It's definitely, you know, got a slight difference. On my TV it's got a slight difference simply because of the fact that, you know, I mentioned that with the judder reduction on the Samsung television, even 30 frames per second content actually looks like 60 fps. So there is a slight change, but, you know, I don't feel it much. However, having said that, all right, if you are playing this on a 1080p monitor, which does not have any motion judder, you know, settings, etc., so you don't have what we call MEMC. If you don't have that on a monitor, then you are definitely going to make out the difference. There is going to be a difference in terms of your FPS. This looks smooth. If I do this, it looks smooth. Even in the previous one it looks smooth, but hey, I'm already missing the ray tracing. The ray tracing, it gets you spoiled. You are spoiled because of the ray tracing. And now look at it, you know, all the detailing that was there in the water, it's all gone. And even this object which is in the background, it's kind of a trick that the game developers do when it comes to, you know, displaying that information on a reflective surface. This is not ray tracing, however, and there is no information, or I mean, there is information about the sky, but it's not exactly, you know, the same kind of information that you had with the ray tracing version. Now what about the draw distance? It's the same. The trees still look pixelated. The resolution mode, in terms of the resolution, is the best. I always, you know, prefer resolution. In fact, I bought a PS4 Pro instead of a PS4 Slim simply because I wanted to take advantage of 4K and I wanted sharper visuals, and I was ready to take a hit on the frame rates. So, you know, there are two houses. Some people prefer frame rates and some people prefer graphic fidelity, or, you know, sharper visuals. I like sharper visuals, and I would take sharper visuals over the frame rate, because I know that my television is capable of making 30 fps look like 60 fps. So that's why I would choose to go along with visuals or sharper visuals instead of a dedicated frame rate or a performance mode. But hey, if you are playing this on a monitor, it would make a difference. So just having these many options in a game on a console which costs $300 itself is a great testimony of how much time and effort Xbox and game developers have actually put into this game. So really appreciate that, and a lot of gamers would definitely appreciate it. So yeah, this is Hellblade Senuas Sacrifice, and the updated version of it on the Series S, as I'm playing it on the Series S. And this looks fantastic, it looks fabulous. If you want me to make a side-to-side comparison of this versus the Xbox One, the original Xbox One version, do let me know. Based on the number of requests that I receive, I will definitely consider making that comparison video as well. I still have my Xbox One lying around in my other room, and I can definitely do a side-by-side comparison taking game capture. So yeah, I'm just waiting for your comments. And speaking of comments, please let them flow. I always look forward to your comments after I post every single video of mine, and I appreciate all your love, kindness and support and your comments. I love it when you folks reach out to me and ask me questions, queries, or just have a good chat. Yeah, that's what the comment section is for. So do let me know in the comment section if you think I've missed out on anything, and I'd be happy to go over it hopefully in my next video. With that said, we come to the end of this one, folks, and that's a wrap for this one. Until we meet again in the next video, folks. But before I go, I would definitely request you to hit that like and subscribe button if you're here for the first time, and also hit that bell icon in case you want to get notified with all my latest videos. I do make videos on gaming and gameplay, etc. on the Series S, and you can find all these videos on the playlist that you would find on the side, or if you could just surf through my channel, you'd be able to find gaming content on my channel as well. So yeah, please hit that like and subscribe and the bell icon. Now with that said, this is time for me to sign off. Until we meet again in the next video, folks, take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.